cloning can cause confusion, and it can. So if people are cloning people already, have been doing it for some time maybe, or might be doing it in the future, how does that fit into the race issue? What do you do about it? Well, you do about it what you should always do about anything. Try to ensure that justice prevails. You know, any creatures that's moving around on this planet, try to guarantee, sort it all out any way that you can. I mean, if they're cloning some white people or cloning some black people, and the white supremacists are behind it and up to some type of mischief in doing so, you just try to figure out what they're doing, like you should figure out what they're doing anytime they're doing anything. Because if they're practicing racism, this is another extension of racism through something called cloning. You try to figure out how they're doing that and what effect that has, and last but not least, whether or not it helps to produce justice. Because if it doesn't help to produce justice, then that's when you get on it. Sort it all out and try to figure out how you're going to oppose it. It helps to produce justice and correctness, and it helps nature and keeps things in balance. I mean, you study that, just like you study anything. Everything has got to be constructive and non-constructive. Yes. And as long as you have racism, just them making that kind of statement doesn't mean anything. Who are they making the statement to? The prisoners of war? The non-white people of this planet? You just don't make a statement and then sit down and say, hey, that's it. No. You got to show evidence that what you're saying means something. The code says any person who is classified as white, who is able to be a racist, should be suspected of being one until when? Until racism ends. So if a white so-called gay person says, I'm not a racist because I'm being persecuted too, well, the response, the codified response to that is, I'm not paying any attention to that, sir. Out of all due regard, I'm duty bound to suspect you of being one until racism ends. Now, the way that you prove you're not a racist is in racism. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me that you are not a racist and then just go on with your everyday pursuits. That doesn't work. Not in this prison, this world prison called the system of white supremacy. We can't dance around that. And just making statements, people have made those kind of statements, everybody, you know. Who, me? I'm not a racist. Or they put it in a greater frame than that. I'm not a bad person. I'm a nice person. I'm one of the nicest people that ever showed up on the planet. I mean, anybody and everybody can say that. Hasn't changed the reality so far. Got all kinds of problems to solve. Racism is the